What up, Hurricane fans? Welcome back. Please, if you have not done so already, take a quick second, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It costs you nothing and it literally takes a second. All it does is it helps me grow the channel so I can keep producing content for you guys. I have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers by the end of April. April 27th is my birthday, so that would be a cool little birthday gift if I can hit 1K by the end of the month. So please, if you haven't done so already, help me do that. Now, this top 5 series is something I've actually been wanting to do for a while. It's one of the main reasons I had the idea of starting the channel to begin with. I've been wanting to do, top 5 greatest players of all time, greatest games in Miami history, best uniform combos, anything. Have a ton of ideas. It's going to be a long off season, and I need to keep from being bored. So there's a lot of those coming. So this first one I want to do is top 5 single game performances by an individual player in all of Miami history. I know that's a long list, and there's a lot of great single game performances. It was tough to narrow it down to a top 5, but it was a fun list to research. A few guys that get an honorable mention. Number 1, Greg Rousseau in his 2019 performance against FSU. 8 tackles, 5 TFLs, and 4 sacks. What? Another one is Santana Moss's performance against Virginia Tech in 2000. I was at that game. That was the second game I ever attended in the Orange Bowl. 4 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. He took over that game and just shredded that Hokie defense. Another one is Duke Johnson's performance against the same Virginia Tech Hokies, this time in 2014. In Blacksburg, Thursday night game, 29 carries for 249 yards. Huge performance there. Tack on the 37 receiving yards. He was responsible for almost 300 of our 450 yards of offense that night. Huge. As you may not have known already, I'm a huge stat guy, so you're going to hear a lot of numbers. Let's see. Another honorable mention is Devin Hester's 05 performance against Duke. This is another game that I was at. I had the pleasure of seeing this live, that highlight that you see all the time of Devin Hester spinning and juking, 19 defenders on his way to the end zone. That game. He averaged 25 yards per punt return that day and gave us a ton of scoring chances. Fun fact, though, that one highlight where he scores, making everybody miss, that one was actually called back due to a holding, so that one didn't even count. So imagine if it did, he would have averaged 30-something yards per punt, which is insane. So those are the honorable mentions. Now we go into the top 5. Number 5 single game performances of all time would have to go, in my opinion, to De'Ara King against NC State in 2020. In that game, De'Ara King was simply a one-man offense. He completed 31 of 41, 430 passing yards, and 5 touchdowns. And what makes that even more special is that it should have been more, because there were 3 or 4 really bad drops in that game. He should have been like 35 of 41 and like 500 passing yards. But unfortunately, those balls weren't caught, but still, that was an amazing performance. And on top of that, ran for 105 yards on 15 carries. He averaged 7 yards a carry running the ball. By himself, he was responsible for almost 550 yards of offense. That's just insane. I know college football offenses have changed. It's not what it used to be, but still, I have never seen a UM quarterback just take over a game like that. It was really fun to watch, and he makes my top 5 as far as single game performances. Now, number 4 for me was Andre Johnson's game in the Rose Bowl against Nebraska. If you need a reminder of the stats and what he did in that game, I know everybody remembers that first touchdown that he was just wide open. And pretty much we were off to the races after that. In that game, Andre Johnson caught 7 balls for 199 yards. All right, dominated that game. I remember the announcers saying the quote was, he's having a career night, they can't cover him. Most teams couldn't cover him. But to do this on that stage in the title game, just absolutely shred their secondary, was pretty fun to watch. And won co-MVP honors with Ken Dorsey for that game. So that's number 4. Number 3 is Sean Taylor's, which is appropriate. This week was Sean Taylor's birthday. He would have been 38 years old. We miss you, Sean. Rest in peace. Sean Taylor, 03 against Florida State. If you remember, that game in Tallahassee was a torrential downpour before the game. It was, raining throughout. It was a muddy field. It was just a nasty, sloppy defensive game. In that game, I couldn't find the stat of how many TFLs he had, but he had a bunch. Greg Jones, who ran all over us the year before, could not get anything going. He was in on a lot of those tackles. He had 2 INTs. He had the one long return for a touchdown that blew the game open. And he had a fumble recovery. I was actually off of a block punt. So in this game, Sean Taylor was everywhere. I've never seen a safety take over a game like this. I mean, he almost beat FSU by himself. It was crazy to watch. So that's number 3. Number 2, I would have to give it to Willis McGahee, 2002 against Virginia Tech. I don't know what it is, but we like to show out against Virginia Tech for whatever reason. Willis McGahee in that game, and I didn't realize this was a career high, 205 yards in this game and 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. I mean, for some running backs, that's half a season. He had 200 yards and 6 touchdowns in this game. Single-handedly boat raced the Hokies. We ended up winning that game 56-45 on our way to the Fiesta Bowl National Championship in 2002. That was a great one. Now, number 1, though, and probably the most important single-game performance of all time in Miami history, is going to have to go to Edgerrin James. 1998 against UCLA. In that game, he ran for 299 yards on, get this, 39 carries. 39 carries for 299. How he was able to walk the next day, I have no idea. But the sheer grit that he showed to be able to throw us on his back and carry us to a win against the number 2 UCLA Bruins, not only was a great win by itself, but that was the game that put Miami back on the map at the time because we were still trying to rebuild. Coming off a loss, an embarrassing loss against Donovan McNabb and Syracuse Orange, this was a much needed win, and he gave us that. So that one's number 1 in my opinion. So that's my top 5 single game performances of all time. I'm sure there's some I left out. It's almost impossible to narrow this down to a top 5, but these are just the ones that stuck out to me the most, that made an impression on me, either watching them as a kid or whatnot. Tell me your thoughts. What are some that I might have missed? Throw some down in the comments. And I plan to do more of these, like I said. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Please, if you haven't already, go check out the Miami Flo channel on YouTube. He's a good friend of mine, and he's building a great following already. He's growing fast. Go throw him a subscribe if you haven't already. I help co-host the Sunday night show, and we're starting to do like a little thing on Friday nights. It was a impromptu thing that he did the other night, and it was really fun, and we might make it a regular thing. I might hop on with him every week if I'm available. We'll see. And also the Canes unit. Go follow one Koncrete show on YouTube. He's another great follow, great UM content, and yeah. So hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. As always, it's all about the U. Go Canes.